Your life is nerdy,
You're a fucking nerd.
but you're on the go.
Time is always against us.
That's where we come in. This is the Nerdy News Hour, broadcasting around the world from the good people at the Den of Nerds.
Who?
Let's start the show.
And here we go.
Alright, and we are live.
What is up, all of you beautiful, amazing, awesome, nerdy people? This is the Nerdy News Hour. It's like the news, but for nerds. Sorry about last week and our absence of a show. That's completely on me. We actually recorded the show, and then I went about screwing it up as best I could. But we've got Anime Dan back behind the desk doing his thing,
What's
so
up,
we
guys?
should be good to go. Dan, what's been up, brother? I know you've been busy, been moving and all that.
I've been moving. Let me just show you real quick.
Oh.
I don't know if you can see.
Oh.
No, it's a little far away, but I'm up on the 12th floor in this building, so it's crazy up high. I have never been up
Nice.
this high in a living situation before, so that's really neat. Got a new apartment. Still working on some of the same stuff, though. After this, I got to bake a test cake for a Pokemon birthday party.
Nice.
I got club later today, just all kinds of nerd stuff. And then, it turns out I've been missing out on San Diego Comic-Con and all these
Yes.
great trailers that we're going to dive into. So I'm pretty
Yes.
excited about that, too.
Yes, that is the whole theme of today's show. The whole reason I wanted to do this is because I know Dan hasn't had the proper San Diego Comic-Con experience. And there have been some... Actually, to be honest with you, there's been just way too many dope things to cover all of them. But we're going to cover a few of the trailers that I particularly really enjoyed from San Diego Comic-Con. We're going to watch the trailer on the show with you guys, and then we're going to go through the trailer, kind of talk about our thoughts. I've been on the deep web. I've been kind of learning crazy things about this. Dan has been, very busy IRL, as it were. So we're going to combine our situations for a nerdy something. I don't know. But real quick, two show notes wise, guys. If you are listening to this podcast, first of all, thank you. You're awesome.
Thank you
we
so much.
record this show. Yeah, like, honestly, that's sincere. If we ever see you in public, we'll give you a piece of candy. But we really enjoy you listening to the podcast. If you want to watch the podcast or be involved with the podcast, we record every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're a little bit late today, but no big deal. But check out the Den of Nerds Facebook page. If you want to be involved. If you're watching this podcast, and then you're pretty much good to go. I don't really need to explain too much for you. You're probably either seeing it on the YouTubes, on the denofnerd.com, or you're watching us live on Facebook. And thank you, everyone who's watching us live on Facebook. Feel free to drop some questions, some excitement, some hype as we go through these trailers. We'll address as many of your questions and comments as we possibly can. But Dan, are you ready to get rolling on this stuff, man?
Yeah, I'm really excited. We have a couple of, Josh tells me some of the best and biggest trailers from the con so far, so
Yes.
I haven't seen any of them yet, so I'm excited to see them for the first time. We're using kind of our first time rig up for showing these trailers, so if it's a little blippy, bear with me here, but overall you should get pretty much the experience, and so let me just change this
I'm
around and
super
we'll get in a
hyped.
trailer mode.
I'm excited because like Dan said, he has not seen any of these trailers at all, so it's going to be cool. I'm really interested to hear what he thinks about these things and kind of, bring in some of the stuff I've been learning post San Diego, and just have a cool dialogue about this kind of stuff. So our first one up is, I believe, the Justice League trailer, which people tell me is the most watched San Diego Comic-Con trailer of all time. I don't know if that's true or not. It's just what I've heard. So either way, it's a big trailer. Justice League, highly anticipated movie. So that'll be the first one. Let me know when we're good to go there, Daniel San.
Hey,
and
no
we'll,
problem. We should actually be ready to roll. I'm pretty sure an ad is going to play before this one. So, like I said, bear with us. Here we are in our little trailer reaction studio, and we'll begin our journey with the Justice League trailer. I don't doubt that it's the most watched, too, because it's the Justice League, right?
I know,
It's kind of
right?
the flagship one we've been waiting for.
Yeah, yeah,
All
definitely.
right, so I'm gonna start the trailer in 3, 2, 1.
Boom.
What if you had to pretend
There's an ad.
you were
There's gonna be an ad for 15 seconds.
kidding me? Come on.
Don't worry about the ad, guys. We don't necessarily condone or support
Yes,
the
I'm pretty sure you can hear it.
advertisements.
I think I've got it not on video right now.
No, it's all good. Hey, I
here's
just
the
got a
trailer.
question from Cody Tanner, too. We'll address that after we watch the trailer, though.
What did you do this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Me?
And then,
Very interesting.
who bursts in? Oh, it's not the Kool-Aid
remains
guy.
in mourning after the death of the Superman.
And where is the Gotham Bat? The mass vigilante has been a no-show.
No
You notice
show.
a big focus on Diana, obviously.
It has to. We don't have any more time.
Something is coming.
Some relic action.
Yes.
Always dangerous.
Yes, yes.
I'll protect this gate. No lanterns. No Kryptonian. This world will fall. Like all the others.
One misses the days when one's biggest concerns were exploding wind-up penguins.
This is crazy. Honestly, I think we're all gonna die.
Each of us, in some way, is held back.
Don't engage alone. We'll do this together.
It's really cool. You guys seem ready to do battle and stuff, but I've never done battle. I've just pushed some people and run away.
It's a long one.
Relax, Alfred. I'll take it
They have a lot to talk about.
Do I
For
know you?
sure.
Superman was a beacon to the world. He didn't just save people. He made them see the best parts of themselves.
All right.
I don't recognize this world.
We don't have to recognize him. We just have to save it.
How many of you are there?
I thought he was gonna say something funny.
Not enough. Do you really think that...
Oh, wow, they really just vanish. Huh? Oh. That's rude.
You said you'd come. Now let's hope you're not too late.
All right, that was awesome.
Yeah. So at the very end, if I don't know if you noticed, let's go from the back to forward. There is a red cape in the bottom right corner when Alfred is talking to whoever that is. Okay, so people are speculating that that's Superman. that's kind of the big thing right now is like, oh, well, that's probably Superman.
Because he wasn't in the trailer at all, so...
Correct.
He didn't do anything in the trailer.
Correct. Now, I've heard some people say that that's not going to be Superman because when Superman comes back, he's going to be in the black suit and he's going to be under the control of Darkseid. Remember we were kind of talking about this before?
Yeah, the black suit Superman theory. I think that one's still... I don't know, that seems like it could be a plot point.
It could be the person in this. I forget who said this on the Den of Nerds. I wish I could give them credit. It was a really good comment, but they said some. Yeah, see, Jim O'Reilly knows it's Supergirl. So the theory is that
nice.
From Man of Steel. Remember how in the Kryptonian ship there was the one casket or pod that was left open, and that is probably Kara. And so what we think is going to happen here is that Kara is going to come back and help the Justice League fight against the zombie Superman character, right? The Darkseid controlled Superman, which could be really, really cool. I want to quickly address Cody Williams' question here, and then we'll just kind of talk about the trailer. Is that cool, Dan?
Yeah, go ahead.
He says, here's a question. Do you feel as though DC has rushed these superhero movies because of what Marvel was able to do with their movies? And do you feel like is the case they are lacking in character development? Absolutely. That's something Dan and I have talked about. Cody, thank you for the question. You might be new to the show because that's kind of a running theme that Dan and I and all of the contributors at the Den of Nerds have talked about. Dan, what do you think? Like, we've talked about this before, but just for Cody's sake.
Kind of to summarize our general opinion, we love DC Comics. We love the characters from DC Comics, their stories, the villains they fight. We're way into DC. I'm more of a DC reader than I am of Marvel. But as far as films go, they don't meet certain quality standards. They don't have certain levels of storytelling or certain levels of character development to kind of carry them along as films of great quality, which, in my opinion, we really haven't seen from DC. Well, we've seen it recently with Wonder Woman, and hopefully again with this kind of next phase. I know they're not doing phases, but it almost feels like they're taking another foot forward. But the Batman trilogy was kind of the big hit for DC, and then after that it really fell off. And I'll always point out Suicide Squad as just a waste of characters introduced and then just kind of thrown onto the screen to do whatever and not given any kind of real development or story commingling at all.
Yeah, so to basically answer your question, Cody, yes, we do feel that way. I think that they did do that to catch up to Marvel, and they've seen why it's not necessarily a great idea. So, yeah, that kind of puts the kibosh on that question. Look, as Dan said, they're moving into a different phase now. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. The success of Wonder Woman was great. One of the unspoken things about that movie is that it was the first movie that Jeff Johns really had his fingerprints all over as far as from the production end. When he and John Byrne were brought on to be the sort of Kevin Feige-esque characters over there, this was the first movie that they had pretty much control of, like, the whole way through. Very, very interesting. But Dan, about the trailer specifically, what are your thoughts, man? What do you think of that Justice League trailer?
First of all, I gotta throw out a counter theory to the Supergirl theory. I think that's probably more likely. But did you see how the little glass of water like shook? Like there was like rings in the water? What if it's steel? Steel is like very heavy, and when he walks, I feel like he's more likely to make the water as like a signaling of his coming, and he also wears a bright red cape. Like, would that be cool?
So that would be not only cool, but like super, super cool. You see what I did there? But it's basically like if you're doing the death of Superman, then you can do Superman Lives. Like there were all those versions. There were the Eradicator, there was Steel, there was Superboy, all these people that came and tried to be Superman. So that would be so cool. I don't know necessarily if they're gonna go that way.
That would be really throwing just an extra DC character to here, like out of nowhere. But
throw some more of this.
Yeah, no one would see that coming. I think that'd be pretty sweet, honestly.
Right.
Like sweet to see in that movie. I don't know, and that would be good once in a while. Just like that's good for this film. Let's not super worry about how it's going to branch out. Is there going to be a Steel 1, 2, and 3? Maybe it doesn't have to be. Maybe he can just show up in this movie and fight for a while. Kind of like The Vision. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Here's my counter to your counter, and we're going down the rails, but that's okay because it's our show. We get to do what we want. But counter to your counterpoint, there's this whole thing about the Wonder Woman effect. When Deadpool came out, there was the Deadpool effect, right? And Hollywood execs, they don't think. Like, I think part of the thing is when you become a Hollywood executive, you have to turn in your brain parts, or at least part of them. That's part of the gig. And I'm sorry, I'm not sorry if you're a Hollywood guy watching this. It just is what it is. But so they don't think, they just react and they copy paste. So essentially, like, because Wonder Woman is a colossal hit and she's a female, you could see a thing at DC where they're like, well, let's make the Wonder Woman effect happen, thus bringing in Kara. You know what I'm saying? Like, thus.
Yeah.
The Supergirl route. Like, politics aside, I love Kara. She's an amazing character.
Definitely.
So I would be excited for them to do that. It's a weird situation because I hate that about Hollywood where they copy paste everything. I really do. I hate it. In this regard, though, I can kind of stomach it a little bit more. But what do you think about that?
Oh, I mean, I think definitely has a ton of reasons to be there. Definitely more than Steel. Kara is like, would be responsible for Superman, feels like, oh geez, now we got to do something, he's not here, this is what he would want, maintaining his memory, all the stuff we heard in that little monologue. Kara makes a lot of sense. And it's always cool to see a Kryptonian flying around blasting things with laser beams.
Of course. I mean, that's one of the things they say. That's one of the things that Steppenwolf says. No Lanterns, no Kryptonians. So if a Kryptonian's there, it counts as a protector. But let's go to the chat real quick. We're pretty active on the chat right now. Jim O'Reilly, will they build on them in their individual movies? I think they will, not exclusively, though. That seems to be their pattern where they're really okay with establishing things in group films, which isn't so bad. Cody says, totally agree. Haven't seen Wonder Woman yet. First of all, Cody, drop everything you're doing and go see Wonder Woman. It's a fantastic film. It's literally, it stands among the pantheon of comic book films probably in my top 5. It's very, very good. But he says, I love the DC TV series and how they cross over. Would have loved to see a Cyborg movie, a Flash movie, Aquaman movie, and a Batman movie. Sorry to keep posting when you're talking about the trailer. Don't worry about it, Cody. Post all you want. I just might not be able to get to all of them. Yeah.
We, it would almost be cool, like you were saying, we want to elaborate on these characters a little more specifically, give them something more to do, because this is going to be a jam-packed movie. But at the same time, that's a whole lot of movies to make. The Cyborg standalone, the Flash standalone, da-da-da-da. Wouldn't it be cool if we got to see some, the Brave and the Bold duo movies?
Oh, yeah. Hell
Flash, Cyborg, the film. That would be awesome. That'd be a great way to kind of break it up and throw a little bit of comic book flair on it.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. And we're going to get to the Marvel stuff in a minute here, but I have a theory on Phase 4. And I think Phase 4 is more or less going to be that. They're not going to do the individual stuff anymore. They're going to pick great comic book stories and just adapt them. And I could see a thing where the timeline goes all over the place, and it's no longer a congruent story. But real quick here, Robert Jeffrey says, no to Steel. Shaq ruined that for me. Yeah, that's amazing. Keith Crook, one of my fellow comic book creators, says, after you discuss the movie trailers, perhaps you could ponder whether or not SDCC actually supports the comic book industry. Let me just say this, Keith. We can just explain that right now. No, they don't. It's just that simple. Everything that I've heard about what was done at San Diego with regards to comics, the way retailers took it, the way that distributors took it, is that no. To be honest, that industry is going through a huge shakeup and it's in turmoil. And no, San Diego Comic-Con doesn't give a shit about comics. What's a more interesting question, Keith, I think, is does DC care about comics? Does Marvel care about comics? And you would say yes, right? Your knee-jerk reaction would be to say yes. I would argue they care about some other things way more than they care about the actual books themselves, and that's part of the problem. But so we just answered your question, brother. There's no contemplating necessary. It's obvious to me. Way to speak the truth. Thanks, brother. So let's go red wrong. Anything else on Justice League, or do you want to go to Defenders?
I think we can jump over to Marvel. That was a lot to take in for Justice League. It was cool. I wish I could have seen some arm cannon. I hope Cyborg shoots the arm cannon. I don't want it to look stupid. I really want him to look like a cool character. But yeah, I feel like that's going to be really hard with doing the CG and having the actual actor. It'll be cool to see. That's one of my biggest, I hope we don't have a Star Wars prequel kind of event with the green screen kind of getting wonky.
That's totally fair. Let me ask you this, just because I know you've been really busy. Have you heard about the Superman mustache problem?
No, I have not. That sounds
Okay,
just
so
hilarious enough.
yes,
Go.
so this is amazing. So part of the problem with that Justice League is going, this is so funny. It's like Scargate, dude. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yes.
So they have scheduled reshoot. They've gone well beyond what their scheduled reshoots are for production, which is something we kind of talked about. I kind of prognosticated. I thought Joss was going to do a lot of work there. It would appear that's the case. One of the scheduling issues has to do with another movie that Henry Cavill is in which he has a mustache.
Oh my god!
And I think it's New Line Cinema or something. I forget the studio, but he's under contract. He cannot shave his mustache, and so literally one of the problems that they're having on the Justice League movie is they are forced to CGI remove his mustache, and the Justice League's true worst villain might be Superman's mustache. I mean,
that sounds like a Silver Age storyline. Like Superman grows a mustache and no blade on Earth can shave off the Man of Steel's incredibly invincible mustache. And he's like, I look a fool. No, a proper superhero can't have facial. That'd be hilarious.
It's so
Jesus
ridiculous.
Christ. And that's happening in real life. He can't shave his mustache.
It's so funny to me. I hope, you know what they should do is put like a Warner Brothers logo over it or something.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Censor it out.
Yeah. Or just have him have a mustache, dude. Like,
it could be like a little bump for that other movie, like just in Justice League, so he'll have
dude,
a
they
little
hate
go
that
see.
studio, though. There's no way they would bump that movie. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if anything, they should do something really funny where like they just utilize the mustache or just make Superman have a mustache now.
Superman's
for the
mouth is covered up like in Plan 9 from Outer Space. He uses his cape and covers his mouth for the whole second half of the movie. Like, Batman, we have to go.
What was the dude's name in Home Alone or Home Improvement where he's just like this the whole time?
Oh yeah, the neighbor.
Yeah, do that. That'd be kind of funny. But it is.
Right, so keep your eye out in Justice League, guys, for Superman not appearing below the nose. Just keep an eye out. So let's we should be all set up. We're gonna roll right into our Defenders trailer here.
Yes.
The thing about war is
Nice.
it only works if both sides believe they're the good guys.
Just let me know when to fire it up.
The truth is,
oh well,
we
fired it up. I'm sorry.
No,
we
it's
fight
cool.
to get back what was once ours.
All right. We just punched some people in an office room. Everyone's. Oh my God! Everyone's getting punched in this office room. Nobody's left unpunched.
And this is the end.
It's gonna be quite a few punches.
It's just a city. You'll get used to watching them fall.
This is how all the Den of Nerd meetings go, usually, too.
I think we're safe for now. We need to figure out our next move. No, there is no next move.
And there is no we.
What is that? We're not here to eat. Are those pork?
No, the shrimp. Oh, this guy's got pork.
God, you're weird.
I'm not looking for super friends.
Shit.
That doesn't matter. Can't fight these people. Not even with whatever it is your hand can do. It's cheap.
It's not.
They're hunting our friends, our families, and they're not gonna stop there.
More death is coming. And the only thing keeping Manhattan from crumbling to a pile of dust is the four of you.
The war for New York, it's over.
Not yet.
Nice ears.
They're horns.
I can see you've formed a kind of bond. I promise you it's temporary.
Elektra.
They will disappoint you.
That guy's tearing you guys apart.
Like it or not,
Yep.
we belong out there together.
It's okay though.
They're super good.
I'm glad we found each other.
I'm not hugging you.
It's been a long week.
Awesome. That was cool.
Yes.
That was really interesting. I actually was pretty taken in by that. By the end of it, I was like, all right, I'd go see this movie. This looks like it's going to be a sweet action flick.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, like, they've done a lot with the Netflix series, building them up, like, obviously, Daredevil. To me, the first season of Daredevil was legendary. And, season 2, incredible. And it's kind of all been building towards Defenders. But it doesn't feel like it was perhaps glued together quite as well as, like, with the MCU. So I believe this is coming out next month, I believe, and I think it's only 8 episodes. I could be wrong. It's a short amount of episodes, I know.
Okay.
But right off the bat, like your initial thoughts, you said you were drawn in. Like, what did you like about it? Like, what because you're not a huge Netflix Marvel guy.
No, I haven't
right?
I haven't really been into this too much. So the first question I had is, I was probably gonna ask we know Luke Cage, right? Disappointed in his series. You didn't like that fairly famously on our channel. Right.
I didn't like it very much at all. It's not as bad as Iron Fist, but it's definitely not, like, for me it goes, both seasons of Daredevil are incredible. Jessica Jones is legendary. It's a legendary series. I really, really enjoyed it. And the other two were super weak. Like, that's just kind of where I stand with it.
Okay.
So.
What about Elektra? Was that Elektra in there?
Yeah, I mean, so she's utilized heavily in Daredevil season 2, and she's phenomenal. She's absolutely phenomenal.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm on board then. Let's see some underground, kung fu oriented superheroes, some street justice, that kind of stuff. I'm down. That sounds pretty cool. I found it hysterical in that trailer though, where he with no drive is like, it's cheat. I was like, what?
I know.
This is a whole magical thing. Punch the table in half or some shit. Like, what?
No, dude,
it's cheat. It's not. Like that. There's gonna be memes about that.
So here's the thing. So this is kind of where we have to take this conversation. Unfortunately,
okay.
There was an article that came out just yesterday. I think it was Entertainment Weekly.
Weekly.
Yes, they said. I think it was literally titled "The Defenders Are Better Off Solo" or something like that. And it says in there that you're only as strong as your weakest link, and they have a very weak link. And they're talking about Iron Fist. And they're literally, dude, it's crazy to me. They're literally saying that Iron Fist and Danny is so bad that he's literally affecting the show to a big degree. So what are your thoughts about that?
I haven't really watched any Iron Fist, so I don't know, but now I kind of want to go watch it. Just like, what if it's like legendarily bad? Like, what if that becomes known as the B series? Like, is it that terrible?
It's pretty bad. Although occasionally we get, because it's a relatively popular video on our channel, occasionally we get people that pop in there with comments that are like, I actually really liked it, and I'm like, oh, cool, that's awesome. Like, I'm glad that you liked it.
Right.
But, like, to me, it's just not good. And what's funny is, too, I've seen this push recently where Netflix is advertising for Iron Fist. For whatever reason, Netflix has been trying to put Iron Fist in front of my face, whether it be on YouTube ads or if you fire up Netflix and it's the first thing on there. Yeah. And to be honest, I was really confused by that. I was like, well, what are they doing? The show's balls. But I think it's to just... for the Defenders, right? Like,
right? Yeah, it's gonna be the next big launch, so we get.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it'll be fun to watch. It'd be really silly if he just stands out like a sore thumb as like the bad part. If it is kind of like on a gradient, I don't think it'll be as noticeable. You know what I mean? Like if he's not that great, and then some people are a little better, and then there's some stars, you'll be so distracted by the stars that it'll be okay.
Yeah.
But if it's like a bunch of stars, and then Iron Fist is like it's chi. It's going to be hilarious.
I know, right? I think that's part of the issue is how heavily they relied on... I think they're going to rely on him pretty heavily for the lore because they really imply some things in his season and stuff that, like, I mean, obviously he's the immortal weapon. He's really important to this war, and he is the sworn enemy of the Hand.
Right.
So it's looking like they've put a lot of chips, on the table for Iron Fist. And I'm just, to be honest with you, I'm worried that was a mistake and that they're not going to ruin. So they'll never be able to ruin the Netflix series because we got the Punisher series coming out, Daredevil season 3, Jessica Jones, even Luke Cage. I'm looking forward to more of, and they are doing Iron Fist season 2. So like, I don't know. Hopefully they adjust him, but I'll be super disappointed if Iron Fist becomes like the huge weight that this franchise has to drag around.
Yeah.
Like,
because then, you know, like, if the first, I don't know, they're going to make them all, so it's like...
It's a tricky situation with, you know, what's funny too, with it being on Netflix, they don't necessarily need like ratings and stuff. It's weird, like the way it all works is like Netflix will just essentially, I'm not even sure, they can see how many people watch it, you know what I mean, and they can see if they're gaining subscribers or whatever. But the truth is, unlike something like HBO Go, Netflix people, even when they're not watching Netflix, they don't really drop their subscription. So Netflix has an incredible cash flow, and we're actually doing another Netflix show. It's the last show that trailer we're gonna do, but I find it kind of weird. Like, look, the trailer's dope. Like, I really liked it. I'm glad you liked it, but it's funny to me that you bring up Iron Fist. Like, the one thing you said was, you know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of brought up the fact that
he had that
so.
One. Right,
yes.
if he's the funny line in the trailer, he might be the unintentionally funny character in the movie. So. We'll have to see. I do love, I love B stuff. I love bad stuff. So if it turns out to just be a riot, you know, at least it'll have value there to me.
True.
But maybe not to Marvel in the way they want it.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I almost think that Iron Fist suffers because it's not quite there. It's not quite B level, even though it's laughable at some points. It's like right in that nice little gray area of terrible that
just like kind of incompetent, or it's like okay.
Yeah.
Well, are you set to roll into Thor?
Yeah, man. Let's roll.
All right.
This is my favorite trailer from Comic-Con.
Favorite trailer from Comic-Con, the Thor trailer. All right.
Yes, sir.
Here we go. I'm starting the thing. I'll let you know if there's an ad or not.
Cool.
There's a ship.
Hang on. Bear with me here. It got all bent out of shape during our last...
It is all good. In the hood.
That's magic.
All right, where do you see
Man, this thing has 30 million views on the official Marvel YouTube right now.
That's a really good question.
What's your rap singing name? What are you like, Zooey Dum Dum?
It's huge.
I'm actually going as Killer P.
How badly do you want this?
Going through some ads here.
So we go all in.
Ads here with us.
Ads. We hate them, but
whole world out there.
They basically have a degree in ads.
Play make believe on your
Paid
lunch
a lot of
break.
money to learn about ads.
Yeah, for sure. And then I skip them after 5 seconds.
Right. All right. Thor.
So much has happened since I last saw you. I lost my hammer, like yesterday, so that's still pretty fresh. And then I went on a journey of self-discovery. Where I met you.
Oh no! Yep. That was immediate. So I'm pumped now. This is gonna be good.
Where are we?
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
You have no idea. Hela, the goddess of death, has invaded Asgard.
Oh, the music is so hype.
I miss this.
And you and I had a fight recently.
Did I win?
No, I won, easily.
Doesn't sound right.
Well, it's true.
Asgard is dead. And it'll be reborn in my image. I thought you'd be glad to see me.
I need to stop her here and now. To prevent Ragnarok, the end of everything. So I'm putting together a team. Like the old days.
Surprise! This would be such fun.
Hello.
Hi.
He's a fighter.
Here we go!
Oh, dude,
I'm not a queen or a monster.
Oh my god.
I'm the goddess of death. What were you the god of again?
We're the same, you and I. Just a couple of hot-headed fools.
Yeah, same. Hulk like fire, Thor like water.
Oh, kind of both like fire.
But Hulk like raging fire, Thor like smoldering fire.
Oh man, some more secrets here. What's going on?
Now I know what you're thinking.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
How did this happen?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah.
Well,
So,
long story.
thoughts, Dan, before I go full on nerd.
We're still watching this last bit.
Oh my bad.
No problem. He threw this hammer. It got caught. It's like, what the hell? Is this the same trailer looping around? What's going on? No, okay, yeah, something's up here.
See
It's
the
like two
thing-
different cuts. There we go.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You saw the end where he's talking to Hulk, right?
Yes, yeah, okay,
Okay.
that was the end of the first
Okay.
trailer. Nice.
Yeah,
That was like a
that's the
super
end of
cut
it.
all put together. That
Yeah.
was insane, dude. I love battle fight tournaments. I'm a huge fan. You know, as an anime guy, you gotta love battle fight tournaments. So I can't wait to see Thor fucking battle fight some people, and I hope that there's some good throwaways before the Hulk. I hope he fights a couple of wacky guys with silly stuff, and he just knocks the shit out of them, and then it's the Hulk, and they have a great big fight. Like, that's gonna be super funny. Love battle
Yes.
fights. Man, okay, what else do we got? It looks, the soundtrack, fantastic. Even the logo, Ragnarok, looked all like
know.
retro 80s He-Man.
Yes.
Love it, love it. Amazing.
Super stylized. So Taika Waititi, because this was, like I said, this was my favorite trailer, so I really kind of dug in on it. So Taika Waititi kind of said that 80% of what they shot was actually ad libs, which is interesting, right? So they had, which is really interesting. His style is very kind of off the cuff and very loose. He's a brilliant filmmaker. Everyone should go watch It Follows, which is currently on Netflix right now. Great film. But Taika Waititi, just brilliant guy. So what they did, it's funny, they almost did the Han Solo thing where he was doing outtakes and just kind of letting them roll with it, and they got some really good stuff. Now, they're currently reshooting right now, and they're doing punch-ups and setups. So they're taking everything that they had and tightening it up, which was essentially what Disney was going to do with the Han Solo film, but Lord and Miller were like, nah. So in either case, some of the interesting things to me that I want to talk about, the battle fighting. It is on Sakaar. Sakaar is ruled by the Grand Master, and that is the Contest of Champions. For all you super sweaty nerds out there, they're doing the Contest of Champions combined with Planet Hulk on Sakaar. Like, it is insane to me. Like, that they are jumbling and mixing so many great storylines in this film, and it's going to feel kind of like a buddy cop movie with Thor and Hulk. So what do you think about them doing Contest of Champions, man?
I think it's brilliant. And Thor and Hulk is such a great pair-up. Like, we were talking about how they might get into these kind of pair-up movies. Well, here could be like your prototype for it, you know what I mean? Thor is a god. His powers are only the scale they are because he's on Earth, and we can't really comprehend how strong he is. Same deal with the Hulk. He's like an inhuman engine of destruction. He could do almost anything. He's bizarre. So these two together on a crazy not Earth world are free to just completely 100% power level tear things apart. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great spectacle. I hope they have a bunch of really cool machinery. When the Hulk ripped apart the Thor Buster suit in that one scene in Avengers, come on. That was just
That's
awesome.
crazy.
More of
That's
that,
crazy.
please.
I know. Next crazy point is that, so we see Hulk talking at the end of the movie, and they address that in the panel. So apparently in this movie, Hulk has not turned back into Banner for 2 years.
Whoa.
So he's been Hulk on Sakaar for 2 years, and thus has the vocabulary of relatively that of a 2-year-old. So the more he is Hulk, the more he grows, learns, and becomes smart. So now we have third person speaking Hulk from the comics. Thank God.
There it is.
Yeah, and I just love how Marvel finds this way to get there. They get there with the comic book stuff, but in like a diegetic way. Like, small example was in Spider-Man Homecoming when Toomes, out of frustration, grabs his hair and kind of does this thing. And then for that rest of that scene, his hair looks like the Toomes Old Man Vulture from the comics. The attention to detail, what they do for the nerds, is crazy. So
I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
It's fucking nuts, dude. And so, what do you think about a speaking third-person Hulk? Like, what? Like, come on, that's amazing, right?
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating up to this point where the Hulk hulks out and then can't say anything or can only just roar, or Scarlett Johansson has to sing him a bedtime story or something. It's just get kind of weird. It's nice that they can actually talk to people now. And then when he does get back to Earth and has to make up with Black Widow and all that, he can actually have some words about it. So that'll be good.
And they said, actually, it was funny you mentioned that. They said that they're going to kill the relationship between her and Hulk now. Like, it just can't happen. And I think that partially has to have to do with Hulk gaining a personality and having more control. So, like, he's a little bit more intelligible now. And quickly, I'll just address the chat here. Keith says, Hulk has the brain of a 2-year-old. He should work in the movie development in Hollywood. 1,000% agree, Keith. 1,000% agree. Slam dunk from Keith Crook. So check this out. We can see the Fenris Wolf. We see Hulk fighting the Fenris. And then we see that was Surtur at the end that Hulk's coming in on with the full-on smash.
Oh, okay.
That's full-on Jack Kirby Surtur, dude. Like, they're fucking going for it. Like, this is so crazy to me. So here, let me lay this out there for you, Dan. This is going to kind of spoil something for you, and I apologize, but I got to lay this out there.
Okay, go ahead.
So in the Infinity War trailer, this thing that's been shown to people, that's leaked online, but they've been pretty close-lipped about it.
Right.
The whole thing starts with Thor in space getting hit by the Guardians of the Galaxy ship. He literally gets plastered like a bug on a windshield, and then they bring him in, which is kind of a spoiler for the end of Thor Ragnarok because he's in his Thor Ragnarok getup.
Okay, so he's going to end up just floating in space.
He's going to end up floating in space. So the question becomes, what happens at the end of Ragnarok? Like, after seeing this trailer and knowing that that's where we end up, what is your theory on that? Anything coming to mind?
So my first immediate question is like, where's the Hulk go then? You know what I mean? Like, someone has to get exploded away from Thor when he gets vented out into space or whatever. And are they gonna find it? Are the Guardians gonna find him too, or is he just gonna show up later as kind of like the Gandalf on a white horse in the darkest hour? I don't know.
That's a good question.
So that's my first wonder. Then, it's kind of interesting that we already know the end of the movie, right?
Well, that's
like
what's weird, right?
End.
Like, we definitely do. I mean, so I've heard some things, because we've been, doing a lot of great videos on the channel. People are watching. It's been very cool interacting with everyone. There's a lot of theories that, like, maybe Surtur whoops Thor's ass and sends him out into space, and then Hulk beats Surtur. Thanos comes in, beats the Hulk, leaves Banner on Asgard or kills him. And then with Mistress Death, which would be Hela, we're all assuming that Hela, remember how in the trailer she just says, I'm the goddess of death?
Yeah. I'm not a monster.
Correct. It's a popularized theory that she's going to replace Mistress Death in that equation with Thanos.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Right?
That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. So, the hype is fucking real right now with the MCU. This trailer looks hot as shit. Like, this is like totally awesome. Any other things you want to touch on before we do our last trailer?
Yeah, that's an example of a movie that's just going to be fun to watch. Even if the story isn't like a no holds bar, like, whoa, didn't see that coming. It's just going to be a blast to see fighting and people jumping around in space and Thor and Hulk doing their thing.
I mean, like, I probably say this every time I get a preview for a Marvel movie, but it looks to be maybe the best Marvel movie. Like, doesn't it feel like that? You're always kind of like that. You're like, oh, this one's going to be the best. You know what I mean? Like, it just something about
They're pretty good at that. Each one has something different to look forward to. Like, in this one in particular, I'm like, I can't wait to hear the soundtrack to this movie. I haven't felt that way for a Marvel movie in a while, so I'm glad they
and, like, dude, barely any Jeff Goldblum in this. And, like, dude, I cannot freaking wait to hear Jeff Goldblum. Like, dude, his whole thing is going to be awesome. He's Benicio del Toro's brother. He's the Collector's brother. So hopefully we get a little post-credit scene kind of tying into Infinity War and all of that. But real quick, Dan, how is your Comic-Con experience going in this podcast so far?
I like it so far. Out of all these trailers, oh man, which one am I most excited for? Honestly, the Justice League is doing a great job in getting me excited for that movie. I was kind of on the oh boy, DC's doing a movie again. Well, maybe they'll do okay. Train, but now after that, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you guys got it. You're fine. Come on.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Swing for the fences, line up your ducks, knock it out of the park. Whatever
Knock
you
it
need to
out of
hear,
the park.
do it. Yeah.
Dude, and it looks gorgeous. Like, that's the one thing I said in my recap on the channel was like, look, you could say a lot of different things about Zack Snyder. The man is a master at making things look beautiful on the screen. So, like, there's a lot there that's just mind-blowing. And did you catch the whole reference to God and Adam touching each other with the Flash putting the thing up there? Yeah, very cool. A little nod to that. Wonder Woman's obviously the god in that equation. But you know, I would have to agree with you. I think that the Justice League trailer did a great job of making us excited for the movie. Guys, if you're listening to this podcast or watching this podcast on either the website, iTunes, or on YouTube, drop a comment down. Please let us know or hit us up on social. We'd like to know your thoughts too. We're really into interacting here. But now let's shift gears. Let's go into a trailer that's not necessarily superhero related, but it's dripping with nerdy goodness, and it's something that I'm personally really excited about. This would be Bright, which is a David Goyer film with Will Smith, exclusive on Netflix. Dan, are you ready?
I believe so. You said this is a Netflix exclusive film, though, right? Not a series?
Correct.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. So let's get this adjusted here. Netflix. Hey, what it was made for? Movies. What do you know?
Yes. What do you know?
And, well, all right, we should be good to go. Let's roll the Bright trailer.
Alrighty.
We're going right into it.
All right.
Going right into it again. There we go.
Okay.
Why is there a fairy in the bird feeder again?
Yep.
Good afternoon, officer. Fairy lives don't matter today. That's it right there. Now take the little homie out LAPD style like you do. Oh, and you keep doing all your gangster stuff. I'm just trying to sell my house. Don't worry about that. Everybody's just trying to get along and have a good life. All of the races are different. Just because they're different doesn't mean anybody's better or worse than anybody.
Hey, where's the diversity hire?
I got a dude in my car. I didn't ask for it.
Grows on
The
you.
whole world is watching. Boy, it's okay. You don't like me. Man, I'm not out here to be your friend. I need to know if shit pop up that you got my back.
Can't hide it, Wood. Humans have physical tells. Like the face.
What's my face?
The human who needs a lot more conjugal love type face.
Do not wink at me like that.
All Westlake units requesting assistance.
3 Adam 9, show us en route.
Shouldn't we wait for the cavalry?
We are the cavalry.
What is it? That's a magic wand. This is like a nuclear weapon that grants wishes.
That's whatever you want. You want to be taller or shorter? You want $10 million? You're not stealing that wand. You gotta get out of this neighborhood. They're gonna kill you, then me. And that's when the stupid shit's gonna start.
Not afraid of the dark.
The magic wand. We have to secure it.
I'm already knowing ain't nobody got my back.
They don't teach that at the academy.
No, they do not.
I am not afraid, I am not afraid.
They're gonna keep coming.
I am not afraid, I am not afraid.
Let's do it.
Some days I can't get out of my head. That's just the dark side of me.
We might be in a prophecy.
We're not in a prophecy. We're in a stolen Toyota Corolla.
Alright, that's pretty good. Pretty good bit there at the end, Will.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad, Will. So the question becomes, Dan, before I interject my feelings and all that, what did you think? Like, what do you think of Bright?
Well, you know, that seemed different. It actually reminded me a lot of a book I used to read, like a book series. It was a young adult book series. It was called Artemis Fowl, and it was about humans, like this very smart human discovering that there was kind of like a magic fairyland, and that they had to live by all these like very complex fairy rules, and kind of like took advantage of that to make a lot of money. And then there were fairy police that were like very high tech, like FBI people. So it was kind of, you know, very similar kind of setting. And I like the setup. That seems neat. The plot seems interesting, like just a magic wand. Like that's pretty cool for like the doomsday device that they have to deal with.
It's a pretty interesting device, yeah.
I gotta tell you though, sometimes there's like, in these, maybe it's just me with trailers, but I hear like one real clunky piece of dialogue, and I'm like, it's the trailer. Like, why do you put your worst piece of dialogue in the trailer? You put your best piece of dialogue in the trailer. And if your best piece of dialogue is so shitty, what am I supposed to expect for this movie? So Will Smith, I understand you're talking to your son or daughter, whoever this is, your child, but I mean, you're also talking to us, the audience. Writer, adult writer who wrote this man talking to a child. So why would he say, I don't know, it's just to say all the races are different. But just because they're different doesn't make one any better. It's like, that is so ham-fisted. Like, come on. I'm so down for that theme, but Jesus Christ.
No,
the entire movie of Zootopia was less direct than that line from the Bright trailer. The whole movie was was more subtle.
I think
oh my gosh.
I think you're right. Maybe I don't necessarily mind it just because it's high concept, and it's like, I think one of the things that when you're trying to get across a high concept, because like what's interesting is obviously Will is a black man, so it is interesting that they're spinning the race thing in a way where we as the audience we're supposed to totally identify with the black man, and not just identify with him, but we're supposed to identify with him at the cost or with the juxtaposition of the other characters, which is super interesting. So look, concept-wise, it's really interesting. The line doesn't necessarily bother me that much, because when the first time I was watching it, I'm like really trying to wrap my head around like, what is this movie? You know what I mean? Like, what is this? What's going on here? And then when he says the race thing, my mind is like, oh, so this is a race movie about black and white, or about, you know, human problems. And then when they start showing like the elves and the orcs and all that, I was like, oh no, it's not. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
maybe it's because of what was happening visually, but the line didn't necessarily bother me that much. Man, so interesting. Now, what I find kind of cool is this is David Goyer. So this is the director of the award-winning, Academy Award-winning Suicide Squad, right?
Right, yeah, okay.
And so this is, we're being facetious, by the way. Just a little bit. This is him with the reins kind of off. Like Netflix, so I think that, first of all, them doing a movie like this on Netflix is a big deal, but this is going to happen more and more. Netflix is a huge player. They've got just as much cash flow as a lot of major Hollywood studios. By the way, these studios normally don't even bet their own money, so that's another thing that's kind of crazy about Netflix. But without getting too industry, I think it's a big deal that they're doing this, and it also feels like, man, look at what Suicide Squad could have looked like just from this trailer. I see a much tighter narrative. I see a much better movie just in the trailer, and I hope that WB takes notes of this and allows him to make a movie like this. What do you think about that?
I don't doubt that this is going to be better than Suicide Squad. Yeah, I think this is going to be good. It's probably not going to be edited by the trailer house. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And honestly, if we take the movies totally out of the equation and stack up trailer to trailer, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to say that Suicide Squad trailer got me hyped for the, at that point, unseen Suicide Squad more than this got me hyped for Bright. Like, that was just a boss-ass trailer. But then, look, what do you get? Poorly cut together garbage. And now, hopefully, Bright looks pretty good. One thing I'm going to be curious about is I saw this pretty neat test. It was about the time, I think Secret Life of a Pet. I think that was the movie. Maybe it was Sting. It was one of those Illumination animated movies. But there's like a little test you can do where you check to see if a character being a fantasy creature or an anthropomorphized animal impacts like the dialogue or the scene at all while they're in it, and if it doesn't, then it was just done as like a hey, look at me, I'm a goat, whoa. But if they actually are like, you know, because in Zootopia, like everything's tall for the tall animals, and little animals have little tiny steps. So it'll be neat to see if like the orcs, you know, are eating raw meat or something, or if there's like an orc hot dog cart gag where it's like disgusting and all that jazz, or maybe that'll be a gag in itself where it's like, what do you think all orcs just are gnawing on, you know, I'm a vegan or something like that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Hopefully they play into that and like kind of like that is the fantasy world they're in. So let's get some content about that.
Yeah, I'm super hyped on it itself. I'm looking forward to this. Feels like a movie to me that like I want to know all the lore already. Like I want to know like what was this just always the case?
Yeah, like is it always okay to just kill these fairies like that? I have a big question about like why is that like something he's not proud of at this point, or is that, like,
right.
Fairies just like bugs. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely that's definitely the case. I want to know, like, was there like a rift? Like, was there this teleporting thing where maybe our realms came together? Like, has there always been wizards? You know what I mean? Is this just like maybe thousands and thousands of years in the future of a world like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a sci-fi fantasy kind of world, like futuristic fantasy.
Right, so I don't know. I wanted to kind of throw that in here because it's just a little change of pace. I think
it was something different. It was nice to kind of palate cleanse after all that hardcore DC Marvel action.
Yes.
Which is still super exciting, man. Let's can we do like a 2-minute recap real quick? We'll just like run through.
Let's do it.
So Justice League. My favorite point was honestly, Alfred had some zingers in there. I'm excited to see Alfred zing on all the members of the Justice League. What was your favorite point in the Justice League trailer?
My favorite is actually the Flash. It's funny because a lot of people have problems with this version of the Flash. The scene where he's like, oh, wow, they all just vanished. That's rude. And then he just goes away. That felt like a Joss scene to me. Maybe one of the only Joss Whedon scenes in the movie because it was very heavy effect-wise and it looked really, really cool. But to me, the Flash in that scene in particular was the best.
Yeah, he also had that little bit where he's like, I don't battle, I just push people and run away. And I was like, that's exactly what the Flash does all the time.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Like, he's so ungrizzled. Like, so I like that a lot.
Yeah, okay. So we're sold on the Flash. Justice League, nice. The Defenders. Best part about the Defenders, let's see. Most memorable thing was how funny their banter was. Their banter was honestly pretty humorous and enjoyable, and that I think is like the foundation for a good multi-hero action flick. Is you also need them to be good dialoguing between each other.
Yep, definitely agree with that. My personal favorite part was when Matt realizes that Elektra's alive. There's a shot at the end of the trailer where you just kind of see his face, and I think that it's obvious that they're going to position it in a way. So you didn't watch Daredevil season 2, but essentially she dies. So spoilers, sorry. So she dies, and he loves her. They love each other, and they're star-crossed lovers. They're nothing alike. It's a big, crazy, dramatic thing, but I think that what's going to happen is they're going to position Daredevil to be in a spot where he's with the team, Elektra's the villain, they have to go through her, and he doesn't want to because he loves her. So to me, like, I already kind of saw that and picked up on it and was like, that's a nice emotional thread. I'm into that. So that'd probably be my favorite part.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that series. It'll be a nice way to be like, I haven't seen any of these shows, but at least I can watch the Defenders and kind of watch them all at the same time.
Yeah, totally.
Let's wrap it all together. Thor Ragnarok, man, whole trailer just blew it away. Yeah, you were right. I think this might be ramping up towards my favorite one. It was just nuts. I really want to hear the Hulk and Thor fight to some crazy synth metal. Just do it. Just like that was so good.
I know, I can't wait. Oh, it's going to be so hype. Personal, maybe just fanboyish thing for me, but when Fenris Wolf, when he's fighting the Fenris Wolf, because I need to know what the fuck is going on, because it's like Loki. How they position Loki in this film is going to be very interesting. First of all, Hela in the comics is his daughter, and I believe the Fenris Wolf is an offspring of Loki too. So it's kind of weird to try to wrap my head around that, but just seeing him fight the
wolf was so
Fenris
big.
wolf.
Yeah, that was awesome. Just like
that's
wolf
gonna be
versus
hype.
Hulk versus a giant animal is gonna be a pretty cool fight. Like in a
I've
giant
seen that battle in
bane.
HeroClix. Remember, I used to have that
Yeah.
Fenris wolf HeroClix. Dude, we've rolled the bones on that exact scenario before, and so I can't wait to see it actually on the screen. That's cool.
That'll be nuts, man.
Yeah.
Space Battle Hulk. All right, and The Bright. We just watched The Bright. I thought it was cool. Kind of a little dicey on the dialogue for me in the trailer, but the visuals were cool, and the setting is hyper interesting. I really want to dive into that setting.
Yeah, definitely. Highlights for me, I thought the banter between him and the Orc when the Orc gives him that wink, I thought that was really cool. I mean, it's classic Will Smith kind of dialogue. Yeah, looks really cool. It looks effects heavy, but the fact that they only have one magic wand, like what a cool idea to kind of reverse engineer how to tell a great story and not blow your wad with visual effects, right? So
Yeah.
The fact that there's only one wand and it's going to be used sparingly, hopefully, will add to its effect and be very cool. So that's kind of my takeaway on that one.
Awesome. Well, that was a great kind of romp through some highlights of Comic-Con.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Hell
man.
yeah. Yeah, no, thank you.
I hope
Animated
everyone
Things
at
back in
home
the-
had a good time listening, too. Enjoyed
Yeah,
going through
absolutely.
those, listening along if you're listening to the podcast later on, watching live if you're tuning in on Facebook. We said at the top of the hour, and I'll let you know again, we record live on Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so feel free to join us on Facebook Live. You can leave comments and questions. We'll be able to chime in and answer and respond. We love interaction here at the Den of Nerds.
Absolutely. Real quick, I'll just address one thing from the chat, and then we'll sign off. Alex Gonzalez. First of all, Alex, what's up, brother? Second of all, he says, Josh, you've been doing a great job. Everyone, leave a like and subscribe to the Den of Nerds YouTube channel, #nerds. And so here's the thing. It's not a shameless plug because Alex said it. I didn't say
Exactly.
it.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
chime
thanks,
in
Alex.
and leave your comment on the show. Wow, you got to hear it here first.
Yeah, so, go subscribe to the channel. If not for me, for Alex. That would be awesome. But as always, we're wrapping it up, guys. It's been a ton of fun. Look forward to next week already. Anime Dan, where can people find you online, and what kind of things can we expect from the mind of Anime Dan in the near future?
Man, well, I'm getting all set up here. So what I'm thinking is check out it's thedenofnerds.com, right?
Yes.
Just go to thedenofnerds.com for our new home website. And I'm going to be trying to get some interesting recipes on there, frankly. Probably get some drinks going on for Star Wars.
Yes.
Maybe I'll throw up some pics of this Pokemon cake when that comes together, because that's pretty cool.
great.
I have a nutso idea for this Pokemon cake. So,
Nice.
just follow up the Den of Nerds on our website. Check out our YouTube channel. You'll see me pop up from time to time.
Yeah, I'm Josh. You can find me at the Den of Nerds on thedenofnerds.com. I recently did an article about Flashpoint and the possibility of that movie resetting certain things in the DC Extended Universe. Kind of a cool thing. I actually recorded a video about it too, which will go up later today. And there's an article going up today by Mr. Andrew Fantasia from the Rebel Scum podcast talking about why he wants a 3-hour Star Wars film. It's a really cool article. If you're a Star Wars fan, yeah, you'll totally dig it. Andrew's going to be doing some articles for us too. So go to thedenofnerds.com, subscribe to the Den of Nerds on YouTube, and thank you for watching and or listening wherever you are doing that. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and nerdy day. See ya!